This game-changing experiment chose 4 humans and had them torture each other.
It's already led to major breakthroughs in the future of our industry. Now, obviously, we couldn't get the actual 4 idiots as they're off being tortured, so we cooked up the next best thing. Want to meet them?
Yes. I'm Tahani Al-Jamil, a vainglorious attention seeker with enough jealousy to power Elon Musk's underwater mansion, which I've been to, by the way.
I have, actually. It's remarkable.
It's remarkable.
I'm Chidi Anagonye. Or maybe I'm not. I can't decide anything. Or maybe I can. I can't decide. My stomach hurts.
What? They kind of nailed it. I've heard you say all that stuff.
I'm Eleanor Shellstrop. I mock others to distract myself from the emptiness inside me.
That's fair. That's a fair hit.
I'm Jason Mendoza.
That's me.
Steven, we were just talking about DJ Khaled and what our strategy would be if we were ever to interview him, because, you know, big things happen for us all the time.
Yeah,
here.
It's not out of the realm of possibility
Phone
that
calls
you and I
are happening between us. But anyway, you were talking about producers that have, what did you call them?
Producer tags.
Producer tags. We should have one for all of our podcasts that plays like a watermark about every 45 seconds.
Well, so that no one can claim it as their own.
Yeah, because all the time people are taking audio recordings of us two dumb shits talking at each other and claiming it as their own thoughts and
It happens
content
more than you'd think.
all the time.
All over the internet.
So what should our tag be? Do you have you're better at this kind of thing.
Should it be musical or like intimidating?
It could be anything. I feel like it should be musical and contain our voices.
I think it only makes sense that like we freestyle it, but we go at the same time. We got to be on the same page.
Okay, so you give me what the like musical flourish is, and then we'll both say what we think we should both be saying as it happens at the same time.
Okay, so the notes are our range. We got to be somewhere on like a...
No, I'm not singing. I will not be singing. I don't sing on the podcast.
I'm going to give you... well, what the fuck do you want then?
I want to hear like the backing track is what I'm saying.
Okay, so what's going on behind us?
Yes.
It's kind of sexy.
Okay, so slow? Sultry?
Zach, what...
I don't know anything sexy that's not slow. It's got to be pretty slow. Or else I just don't have the time.
It's kind of like a chicka chicka, chicka chicka, ooh, chicka chicka,
okay.
Chicka chicka is going on behind it.
And we'll say the same thing at the same time.
Yeah, you ready?
You count us down and on go.
Yeah,
on
go.
Say go. Okay.
But I'm going to, so that we don't get confused with the later segment, I'm going to count up. So we've got 1, 2, 3, go. It's Zach
Ladies.
And Steven.
No, you didn't finish. What was that? The sound of Steven? Is that what you said?
Ladies.
Ladies.
The princess is here. Sierra, this beat is...
I thought it was just going to be... it was a watermark that's going to play every 45 seconds.
It's just ladies.
Ladies?
I said...
So our presence is announced every 45 seconds. That's what it's there
ladies.
for. Nobody could copy that. They'll know it's us.
No one would. No one would want to claim that.
I thought for sure you were also going to say ladies.
Sorry, I was reading the mind of the tomato plant behind you and not yours. I'm sorry.
Tomato plant behind me?
Yeah, look behind you.
How red my face is because of my red shirt?
No, there's literally a tomato plant behind you.
That's offensive. Oh, shit. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Into the Time Knife. I'm Zach, and ball tap.
Oh, I'm Steven, and that was a nice ball tap, bro.
Firm tap.
Real
firm tap. Welcome to the program, Into the Time Knife. We're back to talk about The Good Place and to apologize for whatever just happened for the rest of the podcast, I guess. I don't know. I think that was a good start. What do you think?
I'm here for it.
Ladies. It'll happen every 45 seconds. I'm going to edit it
now.
For every 45 seconds this entire episode. I'm not kidding.
I'm not joking.
We've got to start by shouting out the people who pay for this bullshit on a monthly basis over on Patreon. Patreon.com/can't disappoint podcast. Those people are Mary Baker Budisa, Danny
You almost
M.
fucked it
Lugo.
up.
I did. You saw that. I thought I thought it was smooth. I'm so sorry. I hope she doesn't listen anymore. Because she went on a roll and listened to a bunch of it, but I can't imagine that lasted, right?
I hope not.
We do this a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them.
There's a lot of it.
Mary Baker Budisa, Danny M. Lugo, Justin Fortier, and Autumn Marsh. I'm running out of ways to say it, Justin. Sorry.
You know, someone just
but I don't know how to
working.
say it, so I don't know what to do but make a bit out of it.
Yeah, just do that.
Someone you knew, huh? Autumn Marsh, did I say that?
You said Autumn Marsh. I was going to tell an anecdote, but I decided not to.
You're doing that a lot. You're not committing. You need to say what you're going to say or not say it.
Editing. Always editing. What did Gordon Ramsay say? Edit, 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 Zach.
What? Oh.
You'll never make it in this kitchen.
I would rather let you speak than just be like, yeah, I'll edit that out. He's not saying anything.
I'm editing.
But he wasn't. You're Ed. Jesus Christ. Welcome to the show, everyone. If you like what we do here and you want to pay for us to take this further, patreon.com/can'tdisappointpodcast is the place for it. The Basement, our That 70s Show rewatch podcast. That's the only place to find it. You can also get our live weekly pre-show. You can't just pre-show if this isn't enough Zach and Steven pre-show chatter for you. That's where we do a whole 30 minutes of it every week. And it's about the same, right? It's kind of what we're doing right now.
It's
longer.
Uncut. It's unfiltered. It's natural. It's raw. It's
this
sweaty.
Is the really painstakingly cut version of it. We've cut a lot out. This podcast runs 3 hours before we edit it down. Patreon.com/can'tdisappointpodcast. Welcome to the show. Steven, how do you think we would do if we had to disguise ourselves in hell and present as demons? Do you think we could do it? Who do you think's more likely to get caught? And if you're going to say it's me and I'm already mad.
Well, here's
what
the
do
thing.
you mean?
Because I'm trying to give you the benefit of the doubt here, Zach, because I think that you would be more anxious about the situation. But I think that you might also be better at pretending. You're a thespian.
Yeah, I'm good at being a shitty person. I think I could do it.
I think that we would work well as a team in this situation.
You're
honestly.
Mr. I'm my best self, Stephen Baker. I think they'd see you and be like, that's a little sweetie. That's a little sweetie. We don't have little sweeties up in these parts. They'd know.
Oh, they have little sweeties in the back.
I'd track. I'd track.
I think that we'd be a good team. I think we'd escape. I think we would succeed in our mission. What would your bad place name be?
I don't know. It doesn't matter, right? Chadsworth. That's my name.
That's
Chadsworth
a pretty bad name.
Longfellow.
Oh,
that's my name. That's
nice.
it.
You got to have a dick reference.
I don't know. I think you took it there, not me.
Longfellow.
I think you took it there. But
You
it's
hear
so
the
everyone
knows
knows
long
that
and fellow next to each other,
Chadsworth may
Zach,
be a
and that's not
short
what your
king,
mind-
but he is a Longfellow. How was your week? It's been a full week since we've gotten down and dirty and rolled around in the mud together. Have you done anything worth commenting on the internet?
You know, we talked a lot about what we've been watching on the pre-show.
Mm-hmm. What else are we going to talk about?
Yeah, I'm excited to see Barbie and Oppenheimer in a couple
Very
weeks.
much.
I guess maybe this week in podcast world. I don't know when stuff comes
Couldn't
out.
tell you.
Yeah, you can't keep track. But I will talk. The new season of anime shows is getting started.
Mm-hmm.
And one that I liked the first season, didn't love the first season of, but it's a pretty popular one. Jujutsu Kaisen. Have you heard of that, Zach?
I
JJK?
have, but I don't know anything about it. I've heard the title.
The first season had really good animation, but like it bothered me because the bad curses, the monsters or whatever, sounded like that TikTok filter that makes your voice sound like this.
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about?
I do.
Yeah, it sounded like that, and that kind of like took me out of it. But it was good. New season has a new director and a really different, like, darker vibe to it, and just like looks very different in the way that the animation is directed, and it's like very noticeable. And I think I'm gonna like the season more. So
Nice.
Yeah,
Just
first
started.
episode was really, really good.
Cool.
Crazy animation stuff, and a reference to a great movie that basically Inception took a lot of stuff from called Paprika.
I've been doing my due diligence as a white guy that likes movies, and we're watching all the Wes Anderson movies. I've seen most of them before this, but it's been a long time, and I've only seen most of them once.
Filmmaker Wes Anderson.
Wes Anderson. Is that what it sounded like I said?
Mm-mm.
Then why did you say that? All right. Shrug. Editing. Oh,
What's
Wes
Grimace
Anderson? I've seen most of his movies. There's only like 3 that I haven't seen, and I'm having a lot of fun. We watched Bottle Rocket, his first movie, which holds up really well for it being the first movie he ever made, and Rushmore, which I love. I love Rushmore.
I'm gonna have to check that one out.
What haven't I seen? I haven't seen Fantastic Mr. Fox. I haven't seen Grand Budapest Hotel, and I haven't seen The French Dispatch, but that might be it.
Did he direct Murder on the Orient Express?
No, and that's not the first time you've asked me this.
It's a very, like, in that vein. It feels like a Wes Anderson movie.
I feel like it's imitation at best.
Well, sure, it wasn't great. It was fine.
Wes Anderson doesn't do murder on a train movies. He does Roald Dahl, and that's better.
That's fair.
Let's talk about The Good Place. Are you ready to talk about The Good Place?
Yeah,
enough of this nonsense. We've done enough of it, haven't we?
Yeah, we've
covered it.
We've tossed around the pickleball enough times.
I think for the people that like this show because of the silly shit we get up to, they've had their fill. Now it's time for the men to speak.
Do you know some? Hey-o.
So all the men that are out there, we're here to talk about The Good Place, Season 2, Episode 11. It's Chapter 24. Rhonda, Diana, Jake, and Trent.
Episode 10. It's chapter-wise would be 11. The 11th chapter of this season, but it's the 10th episode.
That's wrong.
The first one's a two-parter.
Both ways. Let me tell you in how many ways you're wrong. The first episode is a two-parter. It's his one episode on Netflix and stuff. The title card says chapters 14 and 15. They don't reset at the beginning of the season, so this isn't chapter 10 or 11 or whatever. It is chapter 24.
Season 2, episode 11.
Yes.
And I said it is the 11th chapter of season 2, but not the 11th episode, because episode 1 is 2 chapters.
It was produced as 2 episodes, but it was aired as 1 episode.
Well,
I'm not arguing with you over this.
Am I watching the production notes, Zach, or am I watching the episode?
This is just the way I've always...
I didn't know the segment was called Did Steven Read the Production Notes this week?
The numbers have been the same. We've been counting along the same path for
You've
months.
been counting along the same path.
And you're
if
just
you look at my notes, it says season 2, episode
and they're
10.
Wrong. I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can do this anymore.
You know what? Just do the thing. We'll talk about it later. The kids are watching.
You always choose to argue about the dumbest stuff.
My therapist said.
Yeah, I know what your therapist said, Steven.
You were there.
I want to hear more I statements.
I feel as though...
Look me in the eye.
That your eyes... while we eat ice cream...
This episode, episode 11, chapter 24, Rhonda, Diana, Jake, and Trent, was directed by Alan Yang. Previously on the show...
Alan Yang...
This has been so stupid today. This has been so dumb.
Wait, Alan Yang co-writes Atlanta, right?
Nope.
No?
No.
Different guy?
I think so.
Damn.
Maybe he's written on Atlanta, but I don't think so. Alan Yang, who directed this episode, has been a writer on The Good Place before, but this is his first and only directing credit on the show. Outside of The Good Place, he has directed 2 episodes of Parks and Rec, 2 episodes of Master of None, and you're going to say, that's what I was thinking of.
I was thinking of. That's where I've seen the name. Yeah.
He directed a Jay-Z music video for the song Moonlight.
Oh, I don't know if I know that Jay-Z song off the top of my head.
Wow, fake fan.
I know, I guess so.
4 episodes of a limited series that I really enjoyed called Forever, and more recently 4 episodes of a show that I haven't heard of called Loot.
Loot. I'm not familiar with that one, Zach.
Me
You got
either.
you got a loot synopsis
This
for
episode
me?
was co-written by Jen Statsky and Dan Schofield. Jen Statsky previously wrote the episode Someone Like Me Is a Member and Mindy St. Clair with Megan Amram. And after this, she writes the first half of the season 3 premiere. I fucked it up. Scratch it. Editing.
Yeah.
Eddie
the editor.
Eddie the editor. We let him stay because he's good at his job.
Yeah.
It's in his name.
He's born for it.
She co-wrote the first half of this season's first episode. No, I said that wrong too.
Come on.
Eddie.
Cue
the cue card, guys. really letting me down right now. She wrote the first half of the season 2 premiere, Everything is Great. She co-wrote the first half of the season 3 premiere, Everything is Bonzer, with the series creator Michael Schur, and wrote the second half of it on her own. She writes the season 3 finale, Pandemonium, with Megan Amram, and in season 4 she writes oh my god! And in season 4 she writes Mondays. Am I right?
Mondays. Am I right?
And Dan Schofield, who co-wrote the episode, previously wrote Most Improved Player and Team Cockroach, and later on in the show writes the Brady book.
Get your fucking shit together, Zach. Do you need a minute? The reason I didn't know Moonlight by Jay-Z is because it's on 444, and I usually listen to that album as like a straight through thing, so I don't always remember all the song titles, but nice. You ready, bud? Go ahead. I believe you were trying to say the Brainy Bunch.
The Brainy Bunch and The Answer, one of the last episodes of the show. This episode originally aired on January 18th, 2018. So put yourself back as slightly younger Steven, January 18th, 2018. The number 1 movie, we're actually talking about the number 2 movie because it was still Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle this week.
Yeah.
We're talking about a Steven Spielberg directed film based on a true story.
I just kicked something. Away. Yeah, I accidentally kicked something. I think I
felt really alone for a second.
Killed it. Yeah, I left. You said Steven Spielberg.
What's
and I
happening?
Man.
I've lost the line on what of this needs to go in and what of it could be like a bit at the end of it.
Yeah, I have no idea at
Me
this
either.
point, honestly.
No. This movie, The Post, was directed by Steven Spielberg. It's based... I just told you what it was. I just told you
God
what it was.
Damn it, Zach. You said this movie, The Post, was directed... Whoa! Wowza! Man.
What do we do?
Steven Spielberg 2018. Let's
you don't have to pretend, right? You don't have to pretend.
The
number 1 album this week.
Which
it
one
was
that?
The number 2 movie, The Post. Who gives a fuck about it? The
Yeah.
number 1 album this week is a soundtrack for a musical movie that has a star-studded cast and was all the rage in 2018. Can you remember what it was?
Well, it's got to be Cats.
No.
Let's see. Musical movie 2018. Musical movie. 2018
Super
wasn't
white.
La La Land, was it?
It's so white that it's got a story about white and black people dating each other being iffy in this society. Does that tell you what it is?
I mean, Hairspray wasn't out yet.
It's not as good as Hairspray, but it sure was popular. There's a Let Your Freak Flag Fly anthem that was really popular for a while.
Why am I not getting this right off the bat?
The music was written by the guys who did Dear Evan Hansen.
That I'm further from them knowing the answer now.
It stars one of the people who we know will show up in Deadpool 3. You're so bad at this. You seem like the person who should always... You're further. It's The Greatest Showman starring Hugh Jackman.
Oh, fuck.
The huge act man himself.
Do you know how many songs from this movie I've done routines to?
I know. Why?
Also, I think the music in this movie is great. I think the movie itself is bad. Like, the plot's bad.
It was okay.
The more you watch it, the worse it gets. Danny and I talk about this all the time. Every time you watch that movie, it gets worse and worse. So don't watch it a bunch of times. Because the songs are good.
And those sequences are fun. I saw the movie in the theater, and that's the only time I've seen it.
Zendaya's in it, so I love it.
It's time for a segment that I love very much. Steven, we've got to hone this thing in.
Yeah.
people are counting
it.
on us to really hone this in and give the quality, structured, balls out content that we always give here on Into the Time Knife. And that leads to one of my favorite segments. Did Steven watch the episode this week?
Did Steven watch the episode this week? That was my DJ Khaled. It was bad. Bad DJ Khaled impression.
Bad DJ Khaled.
Bad.
You've got 20 seconds on the clock to tell the audience everything that happened in Rhonda, Diana, Jake, and Trent to get us ready for the conversation we're about to have. I'll say, as I was taking notes for this episode, I had to pause to write stuff down, I think a little bit more than usual. There was a lot of stuff flying in this episode. What do you think? Have you put any thought into this?
I'm going to spend way too much time at the beginning saying their names.
You think so?
I know it.
Well, now you don't
have to say their names.
You just said it. Now you don't have to.
Really?
You can do whatever you want. It hasn't happened yet.
I think I'm going to go through like, well, it would have been great if you said what their fake names were.
Now, audience, Steven's got a big choice to make, and we're going to see what happens on this segment.
Fuck.
How are you feeling? Are you ready?
I'm going to do bad. I'm going to do worse than DJ Khaled. Can you rate me on a scale of DJ Khaled to 10? Or, wait, you give me letter grades. Am I going to get a D for DJ?
It's looking like it.
Oh,
You've got 20 seconds on the clock. I'm going to start it whenever you feel ready.
I'm ready.
3, 2, 1, go.
The gang's on the way to the bad place, and they've got to assume fake identities to not get caught. Michael's got to grab some pins so they can go through the portal to the neutral zone to meet the judge. Sean decides to sneak into the medium place to grab the gang. They're not there, but they are in the Museum of Human Torture History, and then there's an exhibit about them because they're bad, and they're being tortured.
You did pretty good. You didn't get the end of the episode. And if I want to be an asshole, which you know I do, Sean did not go to the medium place to get them. He sent
in my mind, what I said was Sean decided, made a different plan.
Extractor. Yes, you didn't get the end and the portal at the end and Michael making a sacrifice and all that. You did okay. You did better than a D. You didn't need to waste time on all the names. That's the title of the episode. We already can put that 2 and 2 together. Yeah. You scored you didn't get the end. I'm between a B and a B minus. And I'm going to go B minus, but I think it was good.
I thought that might have been a B plus week this week, but that's okay. I'll take it.
I'm thinking it's just kind of a B minus in general. I'm feeling very B minus right now.
Yeah.
my blood type. B minus. That's what they told me when I gave them blood. They said, this is B minus.
This is B minus blood. Nice.
Oh, man, let's do some trivia. I've got a decent amount of questions for you.
I do, too.
I'll kick it off, though.
Yeah, go for it.
Because why not? What does Jason want to order at IHOP?
The, what's it called?
You know, in your heart. You've been to IHOP. You've probably ordered this.
Uh-huh. It's not called
a little rhymey. Think of a little rhymey.
Yeah. Oh, man. Fruity Tooty? Rudy Tooty?
That's 3 of the 4 words you've said.
Fruity, Rudy, Tooty.
I really wanted you to get this one. It's the Rudy Tooty Fresh and Fruity.
God damn.
I know. It's okay. Pat yourself on the back. You're all right.
Close. What lies in the neutral zone, Zach?
Counting the judge's quarters and an IHOP. Is there more?
Close. What Michael says is that it's the judge's quarters, accounting department, and the Janet warehouse. But I think
Janet warehouse and IHOP. The IHOP
does lie there. So I missed one. You missed one. We'll call it even.
You missed one too.
Yeah.
The Janet warehouse. I didn't say. I remember that one. What is Diana Tremaine's address?
Okay, I think that's my next question. 123 whatever street, Canada City, Canada.
Good job. 100%.
Nice. What kind of ketchup does Rhonda say to pass?
NASCAR ketchup.
The NASCAR ketchup.
Here's a Rhonda Mumps question. What are Rhonda Mumps' middle names?
I have no idea.
She makes it up later. She's like, or I'm not Rhonda something something Mumps.
That's funny. I don't remember that, but that I don't know at all.
Rhonda Apple Pie Spider-Man Mumps.
That's fucking hilarious.
Is that not in yours, or did you miss it?
I don't know. I might have missed it. That's really funny. What kind of store will Jake meet you at?
The Martini store.
The Martini
I remember
store.
That. What are the bad place hors d'oeuvres?
Bagels from Alabama.
No.
Soul food from
Bagels,
Maine.
yes. They're not from Alabama. You're right
Arkansas?
about the soul food. Arkansas. Two
Bagels
more.
from Arkansas. Soul food from Maine. Those are the two I remember.
Hawaiian pizza, of course.
Hawaiian pizza, of course.
And egg salad from a hospital vending machine
In Azerbaijan.
Yeah.
You know, they hold an F1 race in Azerbaijan.
Sure. I believe it.
Yeah. It's the only reason I know it exists. My next question for you. How long are the Bad Place trains delayed?
3 hours.
3 hours. Just like every day.
What department did Chet and Trent work together in? Did you go to sleep?
You
awake
Does it
over
look
there?
like it? My eyes are wide open, Zachary.
They weren't then. While you were thinking.
I can't remember.
Partial
Decapitation.
Yes.
Nice. What's the new Axe scent?
Transformers.
Yes.
Have I gotten
Makes
all of yours
you-
right so far, or did I miss one?
You've gotten them all right.
Hell yes. Hell
Mostly.
yes. Going for the clean sweep today. I've got two more.
Yeah,
for
because
you.
I gave you the first one because I missed one too.
Oh, so no, then I can't take it. I won't take that as a full win.
Yeah.
Who did Rhonda once shove a hot dog down the throat of?
Legendary actor John Wayne.
Correct.
What would Janet love to punch?
Teeth?
Your teeth.
Yes.
You got it.
I'm doing great. I'm
You're
doing
doing
pretty
really
well.
well.
I can't call it 100%, but I'm doing well.
But you're close.
One more question for you. This is a toughie. Who was the first man to say, well, actually, to a woman?
Don't remember the names.
It
I
was
thought about writing one of
Sir
those.
Geoffrey Frumpton from Newcastle upon Tyne, England on
Oh my
September 12th, 1642.
Nice. What does the sign behind the neighborhood exhibit say?
Welcome everything is fine.
You got it. Well
Hey,
done.
I did
Zach,
great.
that was
I did
an
great.
A performance.
I did great. Let's talk about the episode. I have
Let's do
like
it.
a pro and con to this episode, but I'm very much pro. I think this
I'm super
episode,
pro.
especially as I took notes for it and went through it to talk about the episode, I was having to write down so much because it's stuffed with jokes that also double as details about the bad place that I think
Yeah.
are really fun. All throughout the show, they've been liking to tell us, well, these are the things that go down in the bad place. So now that we get the episode in the bad place, that's the whole episode. They go crazy with that. My con, if I have one, and this is more, I guess, because it's a network TV show, is I've never felt like with the physical being in the bad place that they've ever gone far enough. They're just in the bureaucracy of it in Michael's side of the bad place.
Yeah.
I always would have liked to have seen more of what
The
the
torture?
humans see when they go to the bad place. And I don't remember if we get it in the future, but so far we haven't. And this feels like the episode that should have that. But when I stop thinking about that, this episode is stuffed with details that make it
Yeah.
really funny and a lot of fun. And I do really like it. What about you?
I love the episode. I hear where you're coming from in that point, and I think it would be
It's a
cool
small.
to see that. Like almost how, for the fake good place, you wake up in that room and you walk into the office. If there's a version of that for the bad place, I think that would be cool to see, because I don't think we ever do get anything
think
like
so.
that. But I really like this episode. I think that it's really funny. I think it uses all the characters really, really well, both in the main cast and any like side characters. I love Dax Shepard in this episode. His character is really fun.
You got that good stank.
Love
Bang
that.
you later.
I think that all the demons that are like kind of in the side making just one-off comments are really funny. I think this episode's really good.
Yeah.
It's one that I remember very, very fondly. Like so much to the point like that I thought that we had done this episode for the like picking
Is
which
this
show
the one
we
that you
did.
said that? Just because
Yeah.
you remember it really well. and
Just
you've
because I
seen
remember
a bunch
it
of
really,
times.
really well, and
Sure.
it like sits right at the front of my brain. I love this episode. I think it's very, very good.
Display of them at the end of the episode is a very prominent idea in my mind, even to the point that I think I thought it took up more of the episode than what it actually does.
Yeah, it's a very brief part, but impactful.
I'm overall pretty pro of this episode, and I think I will be even more as I usually am after we talk through it. So let's
dive
into it,
in.
huh? Let's do
to
it.
the
Let's
time
do it.
knife.
So it starts with the train driving
Do you
through
play that?
darkness. Can I play that? Is that what you said?
Do you play that?
Do
Is
I
that
play
part of the
what?
show? After we say into the time knife, does it go like?
Well, I don't know if we've really ever said that before.
I say it every time.
And no, but you just said it, so it will be in this one. So a train, they're on the train, and I really like how it's riding through the darkness, through the unknown, kind of picking up right after the last episode. We know where they're going, but we don't know what it means. Eleanor is checking in on Chidi. There's a lot of that in this episode, and it's really sweet. There's a line about, I don't know, Eleanor says, "What's wrong with you, buddy? Did you lose your lucky bookmark?" And he like pats his body for it. It's like, "Oh, no, I got it. Phew." But he's realizing the smart thing that now that they're on the train going to the bad place to sneak through it, that the plan's crazy and it's probably not going to work, and he's feeling really anxious about it. He asks Michael if this is the only way to get to the judge, which it is. Michael re-explains their situation kind of both as to Chidi and to the audience to remember from last week. There wasn't a previously on the DVD for this one, so it drops you right in. Michael re-explains that the judge's place is in a neutral zone. I think that might be new information, which lies between the good place and the bad place. We see it on a map that he has drawn out. There's also in the neutral zone the Janet Warehouse Accounting and an IHOP, not an International House of Pancakes. Do you remember?
An interdimensional hole of pancakes?
It's more of an interdimensional hole of pancakes.
I'm going to order the Rudy Tooty Fresh and Fruity. No, sorry. In this realm, IHOP stands for Interdimensional Hole of Pancakes. You don't really eat these pancakes. It's more like they eat you. Okay, I'll get eggs then.
Good Jason
I think
episode.
This is a super strong Jason episode, yeah.
And Jason in his suit, when we he's not quite in it yet, but man, he's talking about how much he doesn't like wearing it, but man, does that suit like him wearing it.
Yeah,
he
very
looks
much so.
Outstanding in this episode.
He's so handsome.
And it doesn't make we were talking earlier about someone we know in our personal lives that is so good looking, but is also so funny, talented, and decent of a person. And that's almost frustrating. Like, you've got to pick one or the other. You can't have both of those. Manny Jacinto has those vibes. And him in that suit, but he can still be like silly and stupid.
It's perfect.
That's a keeper. Ladies.
Ladies.
That's a keeper. Fuck, I kind of forgot about that for a second. That happened.
So you'll fix it in post, yeah.
No, that's part of it, I think. That's, yeah. Not a lot I can do about that, is there?
Every 40 seconds. Or 45? I don't know. We fluctuated.
It was 45 seconds. So they've been hearing it. They know. Believe me, they've kept track. They know. So they have to make it through a portal in the bad place, and they need these access pins that show their like bad place staff to get it. Tahani, before she even knows why, she immediately wants one because it's this limited thing that only certain people can have. She's immediately like, where can I get one? So Michael's going to disguise the humans as demons and get them to wait out while he tries to get them extra pens from Sean. Janet doesn't need one because she's luggage. I'm luggage.
I'm luggage.
Such
she counts as a
delivery.
carry-on.
Jason thinks that the plan is complicated. He also thinks that oranges are complicated.
Well, you eat apples clothes, but not orange.
That's true.
So I thought that was a really funny line.
It's true. Well, Always Sunny would have something else to say because Dennis
I'm not allowed
to eat the apple with the clothes. That is a funny, stupid person observation.
Yeah.
Why could you not? He's like, why can't I just bite an orange? You can bite an apple. He's got a point. You can't just bite a banana. You have to do stuff first.
Yeah,
and you've got trash. You've got fruit trash.
Yeah.
Come on.
And I don't compost.
Steven canceled 2023 doesn't compost. Admitted
Sometimes
it
I
live
recycle.
on the air. Sometimes he recycles.
Sometimes.
Well, joke's on you, cuck, because it turns out recycling's actually bad unless you do it the really complicated, good way.
Oh, well, good thing.
Because it ends up going to a landfill most of the time anyway.
The system's broken, the school's closed, the prison's open. Yeah.
So Jason thinks that they should just Molotov cocktail their way through. I feel like this is a Jason thing that continues through the show, Molotov cocktails. But this is like the big episode for it, and it may mainly
Well, it's
just
the
be this episode.
second time that we've had a big Molotov Jason moment because he threw one at the train.
He tried
one
one
time.
and it didn't work.
Yeah, because he threw it at the train
and nothing happened. It just clink, right?
Yeah.
So they have been building up to this moment, and this is the really memorable moment that happens with it.
Yeah.
Later on. My next note after that was just Jason looks so good in his suit.
Yeah.
The hat.
I almost
too.
made one of my
He's working
trivia
the
questions.
How
Jason
hot
Mendoza.
is Jason in his suit?
Yeah.
Yes. The answer would have been yes.
Exactly.
So now we're learning about their alter egos, that they're going to be in the bad place. Eleanor is Diana Tremaine, which was her fake ID name when she was a youth. Tahani's excited because she wants to act. She acted once for Baz Luhrmann, but really she just got a bunch of glitter thrown on her. If you're in on the joke with Baz Luhrmann, that's a pretty funny, insider film nerd joke. I like that. I saw Elvis.
I feel like even if you've just seen, Great Gatsby, which was what was out at the time.
Like, not everybody knows the name, though. Most people know the movie, but not everybody would be like, oh, yeah, that's the guy, and he made that movie, and he makes them look like that. You know, if you are in on that, it's really funny. It's a good reference. It's one of my favorite Tahani name drops so far, I think.
Pretty good one.
It's up there.
That's a very, precursor to the real world. Well, I was Josh Shafty's muse when he wrote Uncut Gems. That's that. That was great.
She's going to be Rhonda Mumps from the hot dog factory. And I like that the joke is Michael's like, well, that's way too vague. Which hot dog factory? There's a ton of hot dog people into, torture.
Stuffing people with.
So she's going to be a hot dog stuffer. Down the throats.
Yeah, down the
Just the throats.
Sure, their throats.
They're making up names and someone says, Jason, you can't be Blake Bortles. He's like, okay, then I am Jake. Don't say
Please
Jordals.
don't say Jordals.
Jordals. He's going to be Jake Jordals. From the Molotov cocktail department. And Michael doesn't say anything about that. There must be a Molotov cocktail department. He's going to fit right in. Michael's surprised that they aren't more worried about the situation, that they're just yes-anding it and coming up with it like that. But Eleanor says that they've been lying about themselves for a long time now, pretending to be tortured in the fake good place. And that makes Chidi unravel. I think this is also a pretty good Chidi episode too.
I think so.
Yeah. He leaves the car and Eleanor follows to talk him down.
Jeez Louise. Looks like Chidi has a real case of the Mondays, am I right? Hey, pass the NASCAR ketchup.
Tahani, pretty funny, pretty good American accent. I think it's really good.
I can tell the writers had fun with, we're going to have Jamila Jamil do a kind of Southern American accent. What are the funniest words we could have her say? And I think they did a pretty good job at figuring them out.
Yeah, NASCAR ketchup is a stroke of brilliance.
That probably, I feel like I can see it in my head. A ketchup bottle with NASCAR branding. Promotion.
I'm sure that's been a thing.
Has to have happened.
Had a big 24 slapped across it. DuPont. That was the title sponsor on Jeff Gordon's car.
I don't get it. Eleanor pretends to understand how Chidi feels, and I like how she is in this scene with proving that lying is good sometimes by making him feel better by lying. See, sometimes lying is awesome. She notices that she can curse again, which is a funny thing to work with, but it's another one of those things that reminds you this is an NBC show. Because if I could curse again after not being able to for so long, I wouldn't be saying dumbass, cool, I can curse, and stopping. I'd be hurting some feelings. People would cry.
Yeah. Namely myself. I'd bring myself to tears.
Well, that fight we had a little earlier, it's a little tense.
Yeah.
Attention. Are we okay?
I think we're okay.
That thing about the episode numbers.
We're just not going to bring it up.
That's tough.
I'm just going to turn you down
everything
when you say
we do until this podcast ends.
Uh-huh.
Because I will not budge, because I am right, and I know that you feel the same way.
I'm not going back and changing my notes. I physically can't go back and change the names of the files.
Well, that's okay, because I have always changed the names of your files as soon as I get them. Yeah. And that's...
I hope that's true.
It is true.
That's great. Just a little bit of extra work.
Not as a spite, but both of our files are the same thing, and one says Zach and one says Steve.
That's cute.
Podcast episode number Zach. Podcast episode number Steve. I'm always like, Steven did this wrong. I'll fix it. Fix it in post.
Fix it in post?
Chidi thinks that them lying, this is a good argument, isn't going to help with the judge at all, because they've been lying in the past, they lied to get there, and they're lying right now. You know, maybe she'll see that and not even want to listen to them and consider helping them. But Eleanor says that the people they're lying to are going to be demons, so he shouldn't feel bad. It's like a survival thing, and they should just do it. But Chidi is real stuck on not picking and choosing when you set yourself to a standard. Maybe that's something we should talk a little bit about. He can't lie about who he is at the root of it. Obviously, this is a big, larger-than-life situation.
Yeah.
I do feel like so many people, everybody probably, holds themselves to a standard sometimes very publicly and of course undermines it in their private actions sometimes.
Sure.
Whether it's a big thing or a small thing, and whatever a big thing would be and a small thing would be. Like, I think all the time of this makes me think of how I feel like in my heart of hearts, I know absolutely true that eating vegan and not harming animals is the right, just thing to do.
Sure.
But yet I choose to live with that evil and choose to eat the shit meat from a fast food restaurant every day.
Absolutely.
Basically.
And I will continue to do so.
It's one of those things. Like, but Chidi's right. He's a buzzkill, but he's right.
But he's right. Lying is usually the wrong thing to do.
But where Eleanor has a point, he's right in the real world.
Yeah, but
that's not where they are anymore.
Not the circumstance. Yeah.
They are trying to not be tortured. They think they deserve better than that, so they have to do this to get to the point where they can maybe have that. I think Eleanor's right.
His argument is he's like, what if I lose 12 points for lying in this instance, and I'm 12 points short when I get there?
Yeah, but at the same time, I think the points stop when they die.
I do too, and I think that they know
But that's what Michael told them when he was lying to them, so who knows?
That's fair, so they don't know what's true and what's not.
Yeah. I like then when Eleanor dejectedly is like, okay, I understand it, I'll respect it. And he's like, you're lying again, aren't you? Yes.
Yes, I want to punch you in the face.
You should lie. It's great. Cut to Jason being confused by a pocket square.
I get it.
And there's a funny Jason moment and a cute interaction between Janet and Jason that lets us know assuredly, like the show always does, that they're going to get back to that. They haven't forgotten. We're not doing anything with Jason and Janet yet, but Janet tells Jason that he looks nice in his suit, and Jason says that she looks sexy. And a worse show... Someone just said something on the YouTube comment about the episode that came out today that I said, a worse show would do this, like how I do when I compliment the show sometimes. And he was like, well, actually, the show does do this in a later episode.
That's funny.
So right now I'm going to say a worse show would make a whole plot line out of them having this moment. But instead, it's a moment that shows us that it's festering. And they haven't forgotten.
Wise.
And I love that, especially
watching
it week after week.
That you were wrong about Zach?
No, because I don't think they were specific.
Ah.
They just quoted, a worse show would have shown it. They do in season 3. Nice. I don't remember what it was. Now they'll listen to this and I hope tell us.
Yeah.
Because I'll be damned if I listen to it, the episode again.
I'd be damned if I listened to it once.
It comes out of me and then I wash my hands. That's what I do here on Into the Time Knife.
I like that.
That's a nice moment. She got Jason a briefcase as a prop for his costume, and that's when he does, I'll see you at the martini store. Do you remember what the other thing he says?
No.
I didn't write it down. That's okay. It's funny.
It was funny.
And Janet immediately takes it from him. Is like, no, you're going to ruin it. You'll get caught. You can't have this.
It's like, he says something to do with like, run the, not run the numbers, but he like says like lingo that has nothing to do with each other. It's something about a hedge fund.
You're right, hedge fund. It's kind of a moment that shows why Janet and Jason are a good pair, because since Janet has all these abilities, she can like enable and encourage all of the weird one-off things Jason wants to do, but she also has a lot of knowledge and she's able to say, we're trying to do something and you're going to get caught if you do this, so I can't give you just even a briefcase because you're going to have too much fun with it. People are going to be like, that guy doesn't usually hold a briefcase, and it's going to be super suspicious. I love it. Michael asked Janet if she can act like bad Janet because that's what she's going to have to do for the plan to work. And she thinks she can because she's learned how to be passive aggressive. Not that anybody's noticed.
Now
so they're going to practice. Tahani says, let's practice, and asks her for a glass of water. And it's a fun, similar riff to the cactus bit, but different enough that it makes you laugh all over again. The glass of water. Of course, the first time she just produces it. The second time she's like, no. She like says it strained and then has 2 glasses of water behind her in case the one wasn't enough. It's really cute. And Darcy, of course, pulls it off as she pulls off everything. It's genius the way that we've talked about how bad Janet feels like a different person.
Yeah.
And then you make our Janet look exactly like bad Janet, and it's still so clear in her portrayal of the character. Even when she's not delivering lines, when she's like doing stuff in the background later on, it's so clear which one is our Janet. And that's Darcy. That's the magic of Carden, baby.
It's that Carden effect. I love it.
What did you say you were going to tell her to do if we ever talked to her? Something bad. Do you remember? You said it last week. Same YouTube.
Call me a
comment
fat
guy.
dink.
Let us know. Yeah, I knew it was something bad.
Yeah.
I wrote it down later. She says the real bad Janet says a good one later.
Mm-hmm. She's a good one.
She says, "Will you roll off your mom?" And you fat dink. Will you roll off your mom?
That's great.
Jesus, that's on NBC. Some of the shit they say on these shows. Wild.
It's great.
So she can be passive aggressive now. They do the water thing. She can't do it, but they're going to keep working on it. That's where she says, "It's okay. We'll keep working on it. You'll get it." Or my name isn't Rhonda Apple Pie Spider-Man Mumps. I feel like that was probably in your episode.
That was probably in there.
You just didn't remember.
Yeah.
At the bad PlayStation, this is literally where the bad Janet thing happens in a second, I think. Maybe not. I don't know.
It's after they they're in the museum and Michael leaves.
It's here. They're at the train station. They're arriving to the train, and we hear that all trains are delayed 3 hours, and the announcements are bad Janet telling everyone that they're ugly and that they suck.
Yeah, that's funny.
Repeat, you are ugly.
Ugly.
It's really funny to hear. And it's even funnier how like that makes all these people comfortable. It doesn't make them feel bad. They like it. Michael leads the humans to hide, and they're like, "Where are we?" And he's like, "Oh, it's a place." And they're like, well, "That's vague." Yeah, it's like an area. It's an area or a location. It's pretty easy, really. Don't ask too many questions. Pretty straightforward. And then they look at a thing. He's like, "Yeah, it's a torture museum." We'll talk about the torture museum. I don't know how much I love it. I would have rather them seen some traumatic shit while they're in the bad place, I think.
Sure.
This is where Michael says once, and the episode drops it, that there are things, if you don't stay right here, that will scar you for life. It would have been fun to dabble a little bit more with that. But
it would have been, because I could see one of them wandering off.
I also thought it was kind of weird. It has to be because they make the statues of the gang. But I thought it was weird that the statues are of the people that they tortured and not of the people that tortured them.
Here's my issue with the museum.
Yes.
Because it's the Museum of Human Misery, right?
Sure.
So it's the first time like people, and it's supposed to be how they got tortured, but I don't think it says how they were tortured.
It's all about what they did on Earth.
Yeah.
And then this one is about what Michael did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very true. And like Michael says, and it tells who they are, and it's about how they were punished, but none of them say how they were tortured. So I guess that's my one.
That's true.
That's my one little mark on the episode.
Little mark.
Interesting.
Jason says, "Is there a gift shop?" Jason, it's hell. Of course there's a gift shop. This is the least scary place for them to be. It's the low-grade crappiness hall. And if they leave this room, they'll be haunted for eternity. Okay, back soon. Bye, Michael says. Eleanor tells Michael to be careful, and they have a cute little moment. Don't you think it's sweet? Their relationship has become one of the nicest in the show.
Especially because Michael's like, "Oh, are you worried about me?" And she's like, "No, I'm not. Bye. Go.
Don't go getting all goopy on me." And then when he leaves, after he kind of like notices what Eleanor's been doing, Michael lets out this little laugh that's really cute. I thought it was a sweet moment.
Love it.
We see some of the exhibits in the museum that we're spending time in. There's exhibits for the first person to floss in an open floor office. Pretty bad.
That's pretty bad.
But it is low grade bad. It's pretty bad. I would never do it. But it's like something you forget about once you've seen it happen. Now, if someone's doing it every day or every week, that's miserable.
Pretty bad.
And the first time was bad. You just forget about it.
Like display, she's doing it next to a coworker who's trying to talk
like
to her.
In conversation,
and
that's pretty rough. Yeah, we've also got first man to send an unsolicited photo of his genitals, and it's like one of those really old cameras where you have to put the hood
funny
over yourself.
bit.
It is funny.
Really bad behavior.
The thing makes.
Yeah.
We also got, and this is a bad one, first waiter to approach a diner with an empty plate and sarcastically say, "I guess you hated it." It does happen a lot.
Place.
And ever since I first saw this episode, I laugh more and more about it when it happens. It's really funny. It does happen around here. It's a Midwest thing, I'm sure. Does it happen in Chicago? I guess you hate it. No, they're like, "Get the fuck out. Here's your check."
Yeah, because we went to a breakfast brunch together not too long ago in Indiana. We were there, and I feel like that's... No, yeah.
In Indiana? No.
Yeah. We went to... Yeah, we did.
To like Eva's or the Toast together. Or something? I feel that was like a year ago.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Tell your story, whatever.
And
Sorry.
I feel like the waitress was very much that. But there was also like drama happening in the diner at the time.
Yeah.
We were there.
Interesting. Weird
Didn't everyone quit that place?
And then it closed. And then someone else bought it.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. The problems were clear, I feel like.
Yeah.
We were there a while.
Don't make that fucking joke and everyone won't quit.
The last one we see here is the first white person to grow dreadlocks and call Ultimate Frisbee Ultimate.
And then Jason's like, this guy
dude
rules. Yeah, that was funny.
Your stance, dreadlocks on a white hippie, always bad. Yes?
90% of the time bad.
Yeah. Does it depend
Usually
on
pretty
how
bad.
they have their dreads set? Like if they're like the big, really poofy, dirty hippie dreads, like
thumbs down.
Do you find it
'Cause
always
here's the thing.
culturally appropriation?
If
I'm
you have
asking
the
for the
dreadlocks
audience.
because you are actually Rastafari and like that's your religion that you practice.
Yes.
And like that's a part of that.
But if you're just doing it because you
it's
don't want
fine.
to wash your hair,
Bad. Because do you know how like
so do you feel that way about black people
gross-
who have dreads?
No, because our hair naturally locks up.
I'm just
White people have
asking
to
because
make it
I'm
dirty.
interested. Yes.
Yeah. Because like if I just let my hair like exist and grow, it will lock up and like dread.
Mhm.
And I don't even have like the texture of hair that does it super easily.
So to like tie it and to make the best of it and make it look nice and style it.
Yeah.
Why not? It's your hair.
Like it like it's a natural thing that will happen.
Yes.
For not traditional Afrocentric hair, to get dreadlocks, you have to like do it with dirt, and that's gross. That's really gross.
Okay. I always see it and cringe now. But
Mm-hmm.
like white hippies having dreads has been like a thing since like the 60s, 70s. Not
Yeah.
that it goes back anywhere near as far as the originators of it, but
Mhm.
I just wasn't
But it's
sure
been a
what,
thing for
what
a
your
long
stance
time.
would be if it was just always bad, and I can understand why it is.
I think it's usually bad. Not always, but usually.
Not always bad, well, never bad intention, or usually not bad intention, but always kind of cringy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, interesting. Nearby, a waiter and a bad Janet shuffle into like a room adjacent to where they are. They can hear them, and they're setting up for a party. So our Janet goes off to blend in with them. This is when the bad Janet says to the waiter,
Why don't you roll off your mom and do it yourself, you fat dink?
roll off
Great.
your mom. That's
great.
Yeah.
That's fucking great.
That paints a mind picture.
Mm-hmm. That is really edgy. Like I feel like that'd be like a Letterkenny insult. Like that's like that
pretty bad.
level of like, I'll say whatever.
Some Shoresy stuff.
Mm-hmm. Very much.
Janet goes to set up tables, and she tries to say something like bad Janet and just says, with you piece of butt. Eleanor's glad she can still swear, but this is bad because they already have to try to blend in.
Mm-hmm.
Michael walks into Sean's office, and Sean goes, "Axe up. It's the new one, Transformers. It smells like how the Michael Bay Transformers movies make you feel." I remember seeing this episode for the first time and thinking that bit was really funny.
Yeah, I think that's hilarious. Were you ever an axe girly? Were you axing up?
Yeah, like
I
in
definitely
middle
was.
school. Yeah.
What was your go-to axe? I definitely had my two flavors that I would seek out.
They all kind of smelled the same to me. Like, I know they're different, but I wasn't
Yeah.
that picky. I definitely tried the chocolate one when
The
that
axe
came
chocolate was a big one. I ended up really settling on the Excite.
I
That was, like,
remember
the
when it
purple
came
one.
out. Excite. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I used Axe everything for a while. I used the Axe
Yeah.
body wash, but the Axe body
I
wash
like the body wash.
made my armpit break out so bad. The
I
only
think
time
me
anything
too,
like that's
honestly.
ever happened to me. It did
Yeah.
you like bad.
Yeah,
like bad
I don't
enough
think
that
they, like,
in
super bad, but,
middle
like, bad
school-
enough
it might
that I
have
stopped
even
using
been
it.
elementary school. It was like when I first started paying attention to my body odor. That
Sure.
doesn't happen until you're elementary school,
Like late
borderline
elementary
middle
school.
school.
Yeah.
Like towards the end of elementary school. And I think I went right to the Axe body spray,
Mhm.
and it made my armpit break out bad enough that like the other kids started noticing.
Oh
So
shit!
how like red it was. And I've never had that happen before or after.
Wow.
Axe, sponsor the show. We'll do like
Axe
a
still a
weird
thing?
childhood trauma thing. Yeah,
still make
sure
soap.
it is. Yeah. I think the body spray is still a thing.
Wow. It's
There's always
unfortunate.
going to be 12-year-olds that are noticing they smell like shit for the first time.
That's fair.
Yeah. So they axe up. Michael pretends to be mad that the humans got away and presents his plan, which is to tell Sean that he needs 4 pins to take some workers to the judge so they can do whatever they're going to do in his
Mhm.
fake ploy to get the humans back. But Sean has other ideas, and he throws the file away, and I like Michael's little, "Oh, is that where we're putting top priority files these days?"
That was funny.
No, Sean has another plan to get the humans back. I'm starting to get annoyed, not just with this show, but in general. Scenes that end with, "I know what we gotta do," and then they cut to something else. Tell us
Yeah.
what you're gonna do. It's like a really cheap tension build.
Because that's not like
Because then they tell us, it's like, oh, yeah, okay, that's a plan.
Mm-hmm.
He says, I know what we're going to do. We're going to send an extractor to Mindy St. Clair's. You can't do that. That's illegal. But we know that they're not there, so it'll be fine. Cut to the next scene. You know what I mean? Just doing, I know what's going to happen next, but we don't know, and that's kind of cheap.
Exactly.
And a lot of things do that. I'm noticing it a lot more.
A lot.
In all written media, it just happens.
Yeah.
All the time. The humans are at a table at the Bad Place party, and they're trying to mingle, but it's just the four of them together now. One of my favorite lines in the whole episode, I hope this isn't a bit that's not in yours or something, when Chidi says, I've only been to like 4 parties total, and all of them were thrown by Tahani since I've been dead.
No, that's hilarious.
That's such a funny Chidi line. That's really not in your
funny.
episode.
No.
I had a funny feeling when I started describing it that this wasn't in yours, and that's one of my favorite Chidi lines so far. I've only been to
funny.
4 parties total, and all were thrown by Tahani since I've been dead.
That's
so funny to me, because Tahani has probably thrown like 4 parties.
Uh-huh.
Eleanor suggests that, so this probably isn't there either. Eleanor suggests the girls and guys split up so that Jason can help Chidi, who doesn't want to lie.
That part is in the episode.
Okay. And Tahani and her can do her thing. And Tahani has a line about piping hot corn syrup and a scooter so I can roll around the mall. They had to get that in the episode.
That's great.
They
had
couldn't
to get
let
the
that
syrup
off the cutting room floor, and they go off too. Then pretty much immediately, Chidi is recognized as Trent by a real tool of a demon, total slicked back asshole.
Yeah.
Played by Dax Shepard. This demon's named Chet. What do you think of Dax Shepard? What do you think of Chet? Do you think it's funny?
I like Dax Shepard. I've always liked Dax Shepard.
Yeah.
I think that I find him really charming, even outside of acting, when it's just like him on like shows, and I've heard a little bit of the podcast stuff. I really like him. I think that he's perfect for this role. He plays a real slick back.
How vocal he is about his struggles these days is really
Love it.
important. And obviously married to Kristen Bell, and
Love
Kristen
him.
Bell's voice in being public about his struggles has also been great. They seem like a really wholesome Hollywood couple. Obviously,
they seem to really like each other, which is always good.
I think Dax Shepard has some really funny reactions in this episode, and he's like, oh, yeah, dude, I don't know, that feel very improvised to me, and I think he was having a lot of fun showing up to his wife's work for a day and getting to be goofy. I bet that was really fun. And the moment that they have, we'll get to it later, it blurs the line on meta in a ploying way and meta in a, ooh, I know, that makes this extra cute way. But it's such a small little moment that I think it works. They
works
didn't choose to have them play off of each other hardly at all in the episode. But when they do, they
Which
like,
I think
smell
is the
each
correct
other.
choice.
I do too. So, Chet, hey, Trent, right? Who else would I be? Tap it out, and they have a little
Chidi
hug.
through this whole interaction is so funny to me.
Yeah,
because
we'll get to it.
he's
There
like
are a couple of
Chidi panicking.
Guttural yells in this episode. And William Jackson Harper delivers these things so perfectly. I love it so much. Jake introduces himself, so Jason is Jake, and he does a little like freestyle rap. Do you remember what he says? Something about
I don't
David
remember
Blaine.
it, but
One
it
of
was
them's David
perfect.
Blaine.
Yeah.
He's like, oh yeah, nice, ball tap. And Jason goes, oh dip, ball tap, and taps his balls back. And then Dax Shepard, really funny, he's like, firm ball tap, bro. And it's like they're sizing each other up like they're animals. Trent and Chet, the real Trent, used to work together in partial decapitation, but now Trent works in toxic masculinity, torturing trolls, which is really
so funny.
They deserve it. They do a good job of like, yeah, the bad place is awful and they're torturing human beings, but for the most part, what we hear about is them torturing bad people and like all the celebrities and artists. He's working on a training program, Chet is, for the Girls Gone Wild guy. It's like, we're getting something ready for when that happens. And Jason's
like
"Guy's a
Joe,
legend."
whatever.
Legend. Ladies.
He
introduces his bad place friends, including a guy named Dirk. They give really good names to these guys, to Trent, who asks Trent for advice on how to torture a guy named Brant, who I didn't write down the whole story, but involved throwing a lobster at a stripper at like Rob Gronkowski's boat.
He got thrown off Rob Gronkowski's boat.
For throwing a lobster at a stripper. Then he died doing a handstand in a moving Jeep Wrangler.
Yeah. This brings one of my favorite moments of the whole episode where Chidi's like,
well, man, how can I say no? Yeah, I know how I would say no. You know, I'd be all like, no! But, you know, I can't.
So weird.
I love when he screams and just like unhinges and can't help but let his anxiety out. He plays it so well, and it feels so genuinely of the moment. William Jackson Harper does that so well. And even funny as well is Dax Shepard after that going like, "You're so weird, man. I love that about you."
So weird.
Meanwhile, Tahani is doing really well, actually, in The Bad Place, schmoozing, talking about, putting hot dogs in holes.
Tahani and Jason fit in there really well.
Too well.
Yeah.
It was so weird when the Bad Place lady says to Tahani, "I'm going to go take a dump. You want me to grab you one?" "Nah." "Not even a little nug?"
Little nugget?
"Nah, I'm good." "I'm good." Tahani goes, "Nah."
Nah.
No, Tahani's good at this. She's used to this after spending time with Johnny Depp, and that's a joke that has just aged so
fantastically,
so well, because it is a little much, isn't it? Janet, pretending to be bad, shows up, and Eleanor asks her to dig up what the party is and how long it's going to last so they can get an idea of when it's going to end. Janet says, "Okay, I want to punch your teeth. Hi. Hey. Teeth." And bops away. Sean is heading the table in a conference room, a bunch of Bad Place people. He brings Michael in. One of my favorite Sean moments in the entire series.
"Well, I was going to try to get the humans back by going through the proper channels, but then I remembered I'm a naughty bitch."
It's so good. Mark Evan Jackson, probably my favorite thing he's ever in. His demeanor with these lines, with this absurdity of a character, with the cocoons and how now he's just into like texting like sassy things has really made me happy.
Great.
I'm a naughty bitch is a good one. So he sent an Extraction 2 starring Chris Evans, now on Netflix.
Yeah.
To Mindy St. Clair's house, even though it's illegal. And when he says, that's illegal, Sean has a little bit that ends with, "Oh, that was sarcasm. I had thought of that. I did think that." He's made an example of Vicky back in The Bad Place. I thought it was a nice little line to keep that thread going, too. And he gathered these familiar faces to go out and find the humans. Someone mentions the museum at the table, and we learn that the party is about the neighborhood. And it's in benefit of Michael and the humans. So that makes Michael really nervous, but he has to keep it to himself. Sean, his line when he's like, "I made myself look like a 45-year-old man because I can only fail up."
That was a great line.
Here's another thing I'd like to say. This episode is missing, other than when we see Lance in the end, some type of discussion about everybody being in disguise.
Being in
of
human
their true form.
Yeah.
They just don't mention it. And obviously they can't have all of them be CGI demons because the show's not that expensive. But they should have said something like, "Why is everybody in a costume?"
Yeah, or like when we're in the corporate offices, we all are in our human things so that we can all fit in the room. Something like that.
Maybe that's a good explanation.
Or so we don't burn up all the papers. I don't know.
Yeah, easy. They should have written a little something, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of was hoping that would have been in your episode because I was thinking about that.
Can confirm not. You thought of it too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a little thing. That's why this episode is just a hair above being like my favorite. But it may end up in the top 5. It is a solid episode.
It's really good.
Bad Janet, we've only got 5 minutes until we need to go. Burn us some popcorn. Brings out a bowl. Was this in yours?
No.
That was at the end of that scene. I can only fail up. And then one of the people at the table says, "Oh, we got to be there in 5 minutes. Bad Janet, why don't you burn us some popcorn?"
That's really funny.
And she pops up with a big bowl of burnt-looking popcorn, and everyone eats and it's like, yum.
That's incredible. No, that wasn't in mine.
So Chidi is asking for some advice from Eleanor as he got a moment away from the demons in his dilemma. Jason is stalling by ranking MMA girls with the demons. And Eleanor's
MMA
advice...
ring girls.
Ring girls. Sorry. Not the women that fight.
Correct.
Are there MMA women?
Yes.
That fight?
Lots.
Eleanor, of course, tells Chidi, "Lie your ass off." Of course. She makes an example of Tahani, that she's lying and she's doing a great job blending in. But Chidi still thinks that lying is bad every time. And this is a really good argument. By helping Dirk in any small way, he could be potentially altering the course of a human being's torture for all eternity. That's heavy. And I wish they would have dwelled on that a little bit more, because when Chidi said that, I was like, oh yeah, he's not just being a so-and-so. He's a drag, but he's right.
He's right. Like,
that would be
he's
a really
about
bad
to tell
thing to do.
someone how to torture somebody forever.
And that really makes the excuse that what he comes up with for Dirk at the end. He's doing good by doing bad.
Yeah.
He comes up with the way to make it work, which is really funny. And he can't even go to the bathroom to relax and decompress because there's mirrors on the floor. So you really have to come to terms with what you're doing.
I think that's really, really funny. Mirrors on the toilets is like a really funny joke because I think that'd be a little bit horrifying. I don't want to see what I'm doing.
That's what I'm saying. This episode doesn't show us all of the bad place stuff, but they used this episode to stuff it with details of what makes this place so awful in such a cute, annoying way, kind of.
Well, and what that tells us is that Chidi tried to go to the bathroom and walked in and then was horrified and then
he's like,
ran
I'd
away.
rather be out there and freak out. Let me go find Eleanor. Yeah, that's cute. There's a lot of Eleanor and Chidi coming back to each other in these last couple episodes.
Love
Just
it.
like the Jason and Janet thing. It's something I'm noticing. They're not talking about it a bunch, even though Eleanor refers to him as her ex-lover at one point in this episode. They're not talking about it much, but it's happening. It's bubbling.
Yeah.
And I really like that. Eleanor tells him to take a breath and to rub his lucky bookmark, and she tries to explain how lying, she thinks, could be ethical in some situations. We learned that Eleanor has been doing extra credit and reading books that she doesn't have to read for Chidi's assignments, and she discusses the concept of moral particularism, because, of course, I think it's probably more true than not, most rules have an exception.
You gotta.
An easy one is like murder. It's such a horrible thing. Nobody should ever do it. Well, when someone with a gun is about to kill your kid, you take the shot.
You take the shot.
You know, like everything has something. Unless it's like, I don't know, your kid's not doing so well in school. He's only got a couple friends and it's like the weird friends. He's starting to watch a lot of like Alex Jones, InfoWars, some stuff. Maybe then you let him kill a kid. But then again, there are situations when murder is justified and can be fine.
You see a future Proud Boy, you know.
But with all exceptions to rules, that can become too easy a loophole. I'm like, well, it's okay to do this because it's okay.
Exactly.
I
So
can
if
justify
if you don't
it, so
have
it's fine.
a line, then you can always bend it.
But that's kind of the point that Eleanor is making is nothing has a hard period. This is what it is. Because yes, there are exceptions, but then at what point are the exceptions not worth accepting? Yeah, I don't know. It's very, very complicated. And Chidi lives by this binary that just isn't doable, that just isn't survivable, you know? Even if he is right that he shouldn't torture somebody.
Yeah, a lot of things look great on paper.
Yeah, says the guy with the hentai collection in his bedroom.
A lot of things look great on paper. Do I have some tentacles on my shirt? Kind of.
Your shirt's cool.
They're
I
little
wanted to ask you what
tendrils.
it was. Bring it in shot
it's
for me, big boy.
Junji Ito. Here, let me show you the back of it. That's what's really cool.
Okay.
Can you
Neat.
see the back?
Sure. Like it. Love it.
I can't see, so I don't know if you can see.
Nah, good enough.
Slap
Like
on
it.
the back.
It
Yeah.
played. It
It's
played.
Junji Ito.
It's cute that Eleanor
Crunchyroll
read more and learned these things in her line when she says, just because I'm a straight hottie doesn't mean I can't read moral philosophy for fun.
Love it.
She tells another story that starts as like a hypothetical, but then becomes very clearly about her real life. When deciding between going to see a movie you made a promise to a friend or leaving because your mother's in the hospital.
Yeah.
So you go to see Chronicles of Riddick, no matter how many Vicodin your
Chronicles
mom
of
took.
Riddick is good. I don't know.
Is it The Rock?
No, Vin Diesel.
Vin Diesel. Pass.
Just in general?
Yeah, kinda. Yeah.
Groot, the Iron Giant,
the pacifier.
Pacifier.
I don't know if Groot and
Do
the Iron
the
Giant
Peter
count.
Panda dance.
Yeah, that one gets a pass.
Mm-hmm.
That one gets
Smash.
a pass. It's also cute when Eleanor says, a moral particularist, which I am one, I just decided.
I
would
really
say.
like that.
Very human of her.
Mm-hmm.
And she makes a good point to Chidi that doing things his way is the reason he got where he is right now. So maybe
that's
he
a
should
great
lie.
point.
So just at that moment, as he's thinking of all that, Chet walks up to them.
Man, get back over there, dog. Damn, you got that good stank.
Thanks. Right back at you, bud.
Smash you later. Let's roll.
She's kind of into it too.
Yeah.
The slimy demon. Maybe I didn't need Eleanor to be into the demon.
Well, and I was thinking earlier when you brought it up, I was like, oh, well, I kind of like that she wasn't, but I guess she does say right back at you. But she
Right
doesn't
back at
like
ya.
linger look at
It's a
him.
very fast moment, but I could have done
Yeah.
with just him being like, you got that good stink.
Mm-hmm.
Bang you later. And then he takes Trent off back to
Mm-hmm.
give advice. We see a couple more shots of the party. We see a bad place guy lighting a cigarette with a candle. And then we see some more exhibits, which include the first man to say, well, actually, to a woman. Did you have
Yeah.
these in your episode?
Yeah, I
This
had
was
that
there.
one.
And also the first person to say, I need a vacation from my vacation.
On vacation. Mm-hmm.
I think they could have cut that and kept the Chidi thing earlier, but
Yeah, I think so,
they made like the display and stuff, so they wanted to show.
They wanted to put it in there.
Janet asks the waiter how long the party will be, as bad Janet kind of, and learns that the exhibit reveal is in 10 minutes. Everyone afterwards will get drunk and poke each other with hot sticks, and then it'll be over.
Then it'll be over.
So Janet takes a little peek behind the curtain, and with what Michael learned earlier, and with this, we basically know what it's going to be. But she peeks behind the curtain and says, uh-oh. Which cuts to Sean, who is having Bad Janet enter walkie-talkie mode to talk to Mindy St. Clair's. What do you think of the addition to the lore with Derek and Mindy St. Clair we get in this moment?
I love
what they're
it.
up to?
I think it's funny. It makes sense.
They've made the
I love
wind
when
chimes
she's
work.
like, also on NBC on a
Do
sitcom.
some coke off my
Do some
butt.
coke off my butt. Holy shit.
Yeah. And then someone starts talking to them. Sean starts talking to them, and Derek goes, "My wind chimes like you," and they make noise. But the humans aren't there. It's just Mindy and Derek doing coke off of butts and having weird wind chime sex. But Sean notices in this moment, in this confusion, Michael has run off and rushes to see what's going on there. Michael, as he's darting out there as fast as he can, runs into an old coworker, a demon out of their human suit. And it's Lance. "Hey, Lance, lose some weight? Huh, I wish. Stomps off. Sean needs them to find Michael, and they need to do it discreetly, not to disrupt this party. So this was a funny line. He says, "You, search from spastic dentistry department to disembowelment. You, cover children's dance recitals through holiday week at IKEA."
Really funny.
Meanwhile, Chet brings Trent back to Dirk to give him advice. Chidi, this whole moment when he starts, "Yo, peep this, dog." Books.
So good.
Mad books to read around the clock. And at one point, Chet's like, "Books like they exploded?" No, just moral philosophy books. Everybody hates moral philosophy. His
That
speech
is
about,
true.
I had this chick and I made her read mad books.
She hated it, dog.
But he's losing them, so he says something first. He's like, "Think outside the bun. Sick Taco Bell ref." Was that in yours?
Yeah.
That's really funny.
I like that.
And then he says, "Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Ball tap. Oh, I am Trent." It's a really funny moment. This is a good Chidi episode. Absolutely.
It's a good one.
It's fun to watch him. He has the same exact energy when he's in an anxiety ball as he does when he lets it go and like lets it loose. He's
it's
still
the same. He's just
pained,
anxious.
groan, yell. He's convinced them. Books. They're going to do books. Janet shows up at the right moment to get Chidi and Jason and gathers the humans to tell them something bad is happening, but it's too late. The exhibit is starting. So she tells them not to draw attention. Or Eleanor says, "Don't draw attention. We'll just stand here for this and then we'll get out of here. It'll be fine." But they won't. The exhibit is revealed and it's of them. I love both when it's back farther and up close. It's clearly the actors, but they put things around their necks and middle of the arm to put weird little robot-y details to them. And I think it's a really nice touch.
It looks really good.
There's this man who's introducing the exhibit and the concept of the neighborhood and introduces the characters. And we get like a little bit from each of the four robots, which I think are really funny and really true to the character, like an outsider's view of the character.
I like how all of them talk pretty much how they normally do, except Chidi's is super robotic because that's how they see him.
My stomach hurts.
My stomach hurts. Hi, I'm Chidi, or I'm not.
Tahani's, her figure name drops Elon Musk and repeats like exactly what the real Tahani says in response to what she's saying at the same time.
Remarkable.
It's remarkable. Which I've been to. Even watching this episode, not having seen it in a while, when Tahani said, "Oh, and I've been to Elon Musk's private whatever it is," I leaned over to Lil and said, "Which I've been to." And then she said, "Which I've been to."
That's great.
Yeah, Chidi's is great. And Eleanor laughing and Chidi looking upset. What? They killed it. I've totally heard you say all that stuff. Eleanor's is pretty self-explanatory, but I love how self-aware and cool with the Eleanor is. She's like,
"That's a good dig.
Pretty much got me." Almost as good as Chidi's is, "I'm Jason Mendoza." Duh. And Jason just pleased, "That's me." Michael shows up. "Why do you smell loud and confusing?" That's a good return to the joke. You have to be remembering the Transformers thing from earlier. They are loud and confusing. And they still are making them. They're still putting new ones out in theaters. Yeah.
Starring Anthony Ramos.
Sure. Classic douchebag.
Yeah.
Apparently.
He made a
Probably.
song that's like, oh, you think I'm the villain, but there's two sides. But like, you literally got caught in 4K cheating on.
Add that to the list
Peggy.
of things Anthony Ramos and Miranda Sings have in common with each other.
Nice.
Michael shows up and he grabs the humans just as the bad place folk are starting to recognize them. They're like, that's Trent. Isn't that Rhonda Mumps?
Rhonda Mumps?
Sean arrives at the same time in the crowd and catches them all together. It's a good moment. He's like, oh, it's Michael. Oh, it's Michael and the humans. All hope is lost until very quickly and climactically, and kind of you don't expect it to happen, not having seen the episode before. He throws a Molotov cocktail, of course. They go up in a blaze and they get to run away. It works this time. As they run through the hall, Chidi thanks Eleanor for the advice, but Eleanor's like, we don't have time for this. Thank you, but okay. They arrive at the portal. This is the end of the episode. It's a big moment. Michael adjusts the settings a little bit and gives everyone but Eleanor a pin, which I remember watching this for the first time and kind of thinking, how are they going to pull all this off?
Yeah.
And you don't think at first what's going to happen is what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Eleanor doesn't have a pin and is asking about it. And he says, there's no time. Don't worry about it. Tahani, Chidi, Jason, they all make their way through the portal. And Sean arrives from above, a classic, like he's up in the rafters and he can't get to them, but I'll get you, that kind of thing. And Michael gives his speech. What do you think of his decision,
Love
his
it.
speech?
I think it's done so well. I think it's emotional. I think that it's good enough that it could have been like a season finale moment, like cliffhanger type
I
thing.
think now the show is much better for not having done this.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's a good enough moment that this could have been where we leave Michael.
Yeah.
And it's this big sacrifice that's made in order for the humans and the knowledge they have of this world now to try to move forward and forge a new path for themselves and other people like them. I'm glad that they kept Michael because Ted Danson is incredible. And of course, if Ted Danson can be in every episode of your show, you want him to be.
You want him.
But I think this could have been a big, like, we remember the sacrifice Michael made for us moment. Food for thought. I think that would have been it's a captivating moment. It works well, and it's emotional.
And the trolley problem was such a big thing that I think that him saying, I figured it out, you sacrifice yourself. And
although in the context of the trolley problem, how do you sacrifice yourself to save everybody?
You know, you take the big trolley turning wheel, Zach, and you just turn it.
But the problem is that, so just get off the track entirely and then be a trolley on the street?
Yeah, and kill yourself.
And kill probably passerbys.
You get out of the trolley and get in front of it like Spider-Man and just stretch yourself.
I don't think it works that easily. But okay.
So he didn't solve the trolley problem, is what you're saying.
Michael sacrifices himself. Well, he solved a problem. He learned a lesson and solved this problem to get them all to the judge.
Trolley problem.
But not the trolley problem at all. But nice try.
Imagine it's the doctor version and you're like, I don't know who to save, and you just like stab yourself.
I guess
everyone dies.
Not on me. Slice. I really like Michael. Okay, I haven't mentioned it. I think the portal and the people going into the portal are probably some of my least favorite visual effects in the show.
Sure,
they don't age that well. Especially the one of Eleanor looking up with their hands outstretched in the emotional moment. That moment brings down the emotions for me just a little bit by how silly it looks. But I like Michael saying, you look after the others. They need you. Goodbye, Eleanor. You're right. This moment, they build up the trolley problem. They build up Michael and Eleanor's relationship. And this goodbye means a lot. I forget how exactly Michael gets out of this one, so I'm looking forward to seeing that.
I was just thinking about it. I think I remember, but I'm excited to see it next week.
He pushes her through the portal just as Sean meets him by it, and he says, hey, boss, what's up? End of episode. End of a really good episode. I knew talking through it would make me like it more. It pushed it up a decent amount. A really satisfying episode. I just think it is a missed opportunity that we never saw the depths of the horror of the bad place as told by the show. But that doesn't make this episode any less fun. It's very, very fun. A lot of characters get, like every character gets a great moment. Side characters are great. All of the main characters are great. And it ends with yet another cliffhanger. What are the gang going to do when they get to the other side of this portal? I remember this episode. I remember what happens. But seeing it, you're like, what are they going to do? They don't have Michael to guide them. They don't know the rules. And what's going to happen to Michael? Is Michael literally going to be retired and be gone?
Exactly.
It's a good episode to get us into the very last chunk of the season, these last two episodes that come after this. And that's where we leave it here. Final thoughts?
Really good episode. Really good.
Well
I think
said.
It's great. Yeah.
What are your favorite parts? I'm just
I
interviewing
think
you. Give me a favorite part.
It's hard to top the ending. The ending's really good for this episode. I mean, as much as I love seeing them all run around the bad place, especially Jason, is really funny to see because he looks so comfortable.
And
like,
sexy.
He's just basically
comfortable
in Florida,
and sexy.
which is what you want.
It is what you want.
But I think the ending of the episode really carries a lot of really good weight for me.
Well, let's do a good place, bad place.
Let's
With
do
the
it.
weight of the decision made in the ending, does that change or sway your good place, bad place decision? Let's start with the bad place. Yeah. Bad place this week, I think, is gonna be Chidi. Because he's right, and he does sell it out. The right thing to do would be to create a diversion that gets him out of having to give them idea. I guess he does the right thing by saying books, but he does sell out his principles.
I also have Chidi for a different reason. I think Chidi was willing to stick to his principles to the detriment of the group.
Temptress that is Eleanor.
Yeah, well, I think that if it weren't for Eleanor, they would have been fucked because they had to rely on Eleanor convincing him to lie in a way that got them out of this jam.
He would have just blindly given it away to everybody.
Exactly.
That's a good point.
And I think that the fact that he was so willing to be that way before she convinced him otherwise is bad behavior because he put his friends and their whole thing in jeopardy.
Well, look no further to Eleanor, who I give a lot of good places to, but won't be doing it this time, who managed to blend in the bad place without doing any damage.
Yeah. She was fine. She was chilling.
Yeah. She's close to a good place because she manages to get out unscathed without selling anything out, without doing anything wrong. But she is kind of the devil on Chidi's shoulder a little bit, even if her intentions are good. My good place is going to be Michael because of the decision that he makes at the end. There's no... I mean, it's a TV show, so there is, but there's no getting out of this one. You're giving your life, your existence, your millennia-long existence up to save these 4 humans because your mind and heart have truly been changed for the better. And you can't get much better than that. It's a true Jesus moment right there.
Yeah. I am going to give my honorable mention this week to Jason. I think that he does help them a lot with the Molotov cocktail.
Sure.
I think he's
good
really funny
points.
and charming.
Everyone
and he
knows
plays along
Molotov cocktail is a plus 25 good place points in any context.
But you got to give it to Michael. That sacrifice is so noble. And the fact that he, sensing that they... Even if he wasn't found out right away, it was going to be discovered that the humans weren't in the medium place. The fact that he grabbed the coats and ran, knowing that he could have been caught along the way and never got to them, but took that risk and then sacrificed. Great. Excellent. Excellent.
Good episode. Good choices. Good decisions made by characters.
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying this
season. Love to see.
I'm really excited to watch the last 2 episodes of the season and getting ready to start thinking about my best and worst episodes of the season, because each new episode being as good as it is pretty tough, and I know the last 2 aren't going to change that.
Solid,
the last 2 are great. Well, let's get out of here, Steven.
Let's do it.
Thank you for hanging out with us this week. We went on a ride this week. We went on a journey.
We were certainly bouncing around the time knife today.
I hope you guys had as much fun as I did. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a
Thank
blast.
you for listening. Thank you for supporting us by listening, commenting, whatever. Please, if you like the show and you want to support us further, patreon.com/can'tdisappointpodcast. Get all of our extra podcasts. Hang out with us. If you like how unhinged the beginning of this podcast was, that's the goal for every episode of The Basement, our 70s show rewatch. So if you liked that, if that made you laugh, you should check out the Patreon. Thank you for supporting us there. Steven, where else can the people find us if they don't have the money to give up, which I understand?
Well, if you're craving a mouthful of our NASCAR ketchup, make sure you go follow us over on Instagram and Twitter over at Time Knife Pod. We're also on YouTube. See the video companion to this one. I feel like there's some fun video stuff this week.
You think so? Maybe.
I think so.
Your shirt, at the very least.
Yeah, nothing else. See my cool shirt. See my little grimace.
It's a podcast. We are a box. We don't have to wear anything but a shirt.
Exactly.
Except for when Steven stood up earlier and showed his bare ass cheeks to everyone to show off the back of his shirt. That's something you only get on the video version.
You saw I was rocking a full Winnie the Pooh. So
if you missed it, go back and check. It was there.
Search the name of the show on YouTube. You'll find it. Find the video. It's real hot. Ladies.
That was something else. This has been a lot of fun. Next week, we're going to be back to talk about the penultimate episode of Season 2, The Burrito. Man, our journey through The Good Place here into the Time Knife is going to fly by like time always
it's
does
zooming.
before we know it. We've only got
the cat's in the cradle in the silver spoon.
I don't know, we're halfway. It's been a lot of fun.
Little boy blue and the man on the moon.
Don't make me play that at the end of this episode. I'm gonna reject that.
Gonna be a big man
It's
someday.
not Father's Day. We played that at the end of our Father's Day episode on the other
That's
podcast.
great.
We did.
That's awesome.
This has been a lot of fun, you guys. I hope you've had fun. Go gain some good place points. Don't be a dirk. Steven, get us out of here.
From inside the time knife, Black Lives Matter.
I'm Zach.
I'm Steven.
And we love you. We'll see you next time. Have a good week. Mwah.
Molotov cocktail. Jordals. Bye, everyone.
Done.
Never say anything at all, but with nothing to consider, they forget my name. They call me Hell. They call me Stacy. They call me her.